welcome to RetroLogic, episode 56. I'm Dan Caparello here with Sam Wagers, and you're listening to the most Pikmin-infested gaming podcast on the internet. This week, we are Johnless for the first time, guys. No John. I feel a little lost, honestly. I feel like there's something missing in the midst. But luckily, we have Tim Aulph with us, who saves the day, coming to us from the Nintendo Dads podcast. How's it going, Tim?
It's going even better now, because I thought I was just going to go to bed early and just chill.
Nope.
But now, nope. I get to hang out with you guys, which is awesome.
No early bedtime for you. We woke you up. Oh, good. RetroLogic isn't just a podcast, though. It's also a blog. You can visit retrologic.games, click blog at the top to check out some fresh content every month, most of which is written by our good buddy Sam, who's joining us today. Sam, tell us what's coming this week.
Yeah, so I'm kind of closing out the original series. I guess it's a trilogy of articles on the Nintendo Switch Online and the Switch as a whole, not just the Nintendo Switch Online service. That's only part of what the Switch has to offer as far as retro game re-releases and how that stacks up versus the Wii Virtual Console. So I made a huge list of games. I kind of broke down the data different ways, and this last one looks at it by the companies. I originally said publisher, but I realized that's not accurate. But kind of looking at those brand names we associate with games like Konami, for example, and how they supported the Virtual Console and how that compares to how they've supported the Switch, because it does show some interesting trends. One of my favorite fun facts, although it does depend how you count things out, is that Sega actually published more games on the Wii Virtual Console than Nintendo themselves.
Well,
so that explains a lot, though, because then you look at the Wii U, they publish 0.
Sega does what Nintendo don't. Even though Nintendo did. Yeah, that was weird on the Wii U. We talked about that a little while ago when we were looking at our Sonic the Hedgehog virtual retro rewind. We were like, nothing on the Wii U, not a single retro Sonic game, not a single retro Sega game at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's how, you stack that up and you see some trends, because Nintendo actually did increase their output across every iteration of the Virtual Console. The Switch hasn't quite surpassed it yet.
I think it could pretty easily, though.
A lot of the drop in what was on Wii U was because other companies pulled out.
Yeah. Because
the business wasn't there for them. Nintendo, it was their platform, so they continued to support it.
Right. Well, if you want more of that, go to retrologic.games/blog. Go check it out. We've also got Extra Life is this week. Starts this Friday.
Yes, that does start this week. It's like quickly upon us here. It's like, I was just looking at the calendar. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's going to be this Friday.
Awesome. I wish I could be more involved. I'm going to be traveling for work during that time. But you guys both have something going on. Tim, why don't you tell us what the Nintendo Dads are doing? And then Sam, we'll get you on here too.
Yeah, sure. It's Sam's part of it, the whole thing for the whole Nintendo Dads family of podcasting, so just starting Friday evening with Marty, going through Saturday, then Jesse will be on for a couple hours, then Sam takes over for several hours into, the switch over from daylight savings time into standard time.
Nice.
And then
the
Nick
hour's so nice we did it twice.
Yes, that's right. Then Nick and Sean take over and for several hours, and they get a little bit of break when Drew and John do a couple hours of golf. Johnny, not Zablanc John, but Johnny, Hambone Johnny.
Hambone.
He'll be doing golf with Drew for a couple hours, and then Sean and Nick come back on for a couple more hours, and then I will finish off that Sunday from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Just all of us just playing games to raise money for kids.
Awesome.
And there'll be prizes. So whenever anybody donates money towards Extra Life, every dollar gets you an entry into the prize pool.
And so everybody streaming is part of the Nintendo Dads team, right? That we're talking about. So even Sam is on that team. And if you want to donate to Extra Life, which is just an awesome cause, you can do that at extra-life.org/participant/Samuel-Wagers. Or we'll just put that link in our show notes and you can just click it.
Right. So there's a Nintendo Dads team that has its own goal. The individual members of that team each have their own links. They have their own goals to meet. Yeah. I set mine relatively high, I think, but I would love to see that just get destroyed at $333 because I like the number 3.
Let's do it.
And I like the number 33, so that's where my number's at too. 333.
And so I believe each member of the team does designate their own Extra Life member hospital to receive the donations as well. So just so people know where their money's going, I am supporting Nationwide Children's Hospital here in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio.
Excellent. Awesome, guys. Well, you guys listening, definitely go support that. Check out the Nintendo Dads calendar and see who you can support when, and also make sure you throw Sam a few bucks. And apparently, Sam, there will be Plock, I hear.
I am promising Plock. I was actually warming up earlier to make sure I still know how to play Plock.
You did,
because I have beaten Plock, but I haven't beaten Plock live on stream. So I want to do that.
Okay.
I've got 7 hours to do that.
Plocktober is officially
9 p.m.
over.
to 3 a.m. That's 7 hours because daylight savings time is ending.
You could do it.
Wait, I thought I saw something about Plockvember. Wasn't there Plockvember?
No, there's no Plockvember. We're not. This is a once a year
is always
thing.
With us.
Now listen, that's true. Plock never dies. We're just saying the like yearly celebration of all that is Plock has ended. But we reserve the right to still talk Plock whenever we feel like it.
Is 2020 Plock? Is that what it is? 2020
Plock? I'm going to quickly move on now to our icebreaker. Tim, since you're our guest, why don't you go first? What did you play this week?
So, since NSO with the expansion pack is a big hot topic, there's a lot of negativity towards it, but there's also a lot of positivity towards it. So it just depends on what side of the fence you're on. I wasn't on the Nintendo Dads this past week when they were talking about it, so I didn't get to share what I got to do with it. But I've been enjoying the expansion pack because I get to play games I never got to play before. So I did upgrade to the Family Pass, and I started playing some of the Genesis games because I haven't played. When I'm looking at this list, I played. My friend had a Genesis, and he I got to play like Golden Axe, I think, and Sonic and stuff like that. But I didn't get to play a lot of these things. And there was one I actually did like whenever I did play on his, and that was Strider. So I got to play that a little bit, which I enjoyed a lot. Now, it's have any of you guys played Strider? On the Genesis?
Yeah, I think a little bit.
There was Strider, and I know there's Bionic Commando too. And Bionic Commando, I think, was more my favorite because of the grapple hook and stuff like that you can do with that game. Mm-hmm. But Strider was another one of my favorite games. Just, I don't know why, it just stuck with me for so long. When I went back to play it, it was like your memories are definitely different from when you first played it, because it felt like it was faster when I was a kid, and then when I was playing it here, it felt slow. So it was very interesting. But I played that. I played Sonic 2. I never played Sonic 2 before, so that was a lot of fun to play for the first time. What else did I jump into? I tried a little bit of Shinobi 3, and I think that was just the bottom row I was working on there. I think next up I want to try Echo the Dolphin, or Eco the Dolphin, so because I never got to play that. So for me, the pass is a lot of fun because I can play these games because I never owned a Genesis. I had friends who did, but that's different, right? You get to go play games with your friends and watch them play. Mm-hmm. Where I'm able to come in here and play this. And I do have the Genesis collection as well. And I do have around here somewhere the Genesis Classic as well. So it's just, but being able to play it on my Switch, playing in handheld was a lot of fun. Even with not having, the classic Genesis controller setup, I still had a lot of fun playing in handheld.
My brother and I, we grew up with the Sega Genesis as well. It's super nostalgic for us. So like I have the Genesis Mini and the Genesis collection. I haven't busted anything out from the NSO collection yet, just because I gotta pop into N64 first. Like you know what I mean? That's like, that's my generation. But I'm excited to go in there and see how the emulation is, how it compares to the Genesis collection. It seemed a little weird to me that's a thing. Like I get
Sega on NSO.
Yeah, like I get that Sega kind of pawns its stuff off to anybody who will take it. Like that's kind of a thing with them. Like Sonic is on everything except the Wii U. But yeah, I don't know. Like the controllers are $20 more than the Super Nintendo controllers, and they're $20 worse. So I'm like,
yeah,
there's a lot of pricing around this whole thing that just feels kind of weird.
Right. Well, I do appreciate the post you had. I think you posted this a while ago when this first came up, that we could just plug in our USB ones that came with the Classic.
Yeah, that totally works. Yeah. I don't know. They're not incentivizing anyone to get these wireless Sega Genesis controllers. I don't know.
Right.
Particularly the Sega ones. Like there are other options for a Genesis controller.
Big time.
Yes.
8BitDo has one. If you had a Genesis Mini, you can use that one. I mean, there's options out there. Yeah.
Or like there's nothing. I'm going to get so much heat for this. There's nothing like amazing about the Sega Genesis controller. Like the 3-button controller. It's like I would rather use a Super Nintendo controller to play Sega Genesis games. Like it's just not it's not that great of a controller.
I'll counter that a little bit, and I say this as somebody who has zero nostalgia, zero muscle memory for it. Particularly, I was playing Alien Soldier, and I remember playing that on the Genesis Classics collection with a Switch Pro controller. And the controls clicked a lot faster when I tried playing that with the Genesis controller.
Because of the diagonals?
Just because it immediately made a bit more sense where things were. Not the D-pad so much as just like, okay, this is jump, this is shoot, this is switch weapons. Like there were only like, I forget what that fourth button was mapped to, but I kept forgetting which button did what when I was playing on a Pro controller.
Interesting.
Because it was a 3-button control scheme. So
I didn't necessarily go running downstairs to my dock to try it out, to be honest. It was nice to be able to just fire it up in handheld mode while around the house and just try out some games I never got to play before. So that's what I'm excited about, because it's like people are going out to buy the controllers, and I understand, because I would have with the Super Nintendo one myself, because that's what I'm nostalgic for. But I didn't actually go buy it because I play mainly in handheld, and I don't. At the time, I didn't play in tabletop mode either, so maybe I'm more apt to because of the OLED. But I'm happy to play with my Joy-Cons, and because I have no muscle memory of these older games,
right,
including Nintendo 64, because I stopped playing Nintendo games during the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Except for, again, when friends had it and I would play GoldenEye and all the, like, some, wrestling games and all the 4-player games that you could get your hands on, those type of games. But again, I didn't have muscle memory because I was a guest.
Yeah.
I was coming in, grabbing that controller. I was like, what the heck is this? But then getting used to it quickly.
How do I hold this thing?
Yeah. But then, it eventually you learn what you need to learn to hold your own. But yeah, I mean, for me, these games are fun. I didn't even touch the N64 stuff yet, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. I heard some horror stories about that too, of course, but maybe I'm still excited to be able to try some games I haven't played before.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing with that kind of stuff.
Cool. Right on. Thanks, Tim. Sam, you got some stuff. What'd you buy? What'd you play?
Yeah, and this is actually, since I wasn't around last week because I was recording Plock Talk episode 2.
Which was awesome, and y'all should go listen to that.
Yes. But I actually played this during that week. I went back and finished Maximo Ghosts to Glory on the PlayStation 2.
Oh, sweet. How long
which
did that take
I had
you?
streamed. I got to the end of the first world. I wasn't too keen on it then, but I'm kind of glad I stuck with it. I feel like the game got a lot better when I got to the second world. It felt like it hit its stride. It felt like the deaths weren't as cheap. There were a lot more variety of power-ups to pick up. And I actually learned how to save, because that's the weird thing this game does, is it doesn't really explain to you how to use checkpoints or how to save. You have to stab the checkpoint. It's like this little hill in the ground with light shining down on it. And it says checkpoint. And you're like, cool, I reached a checkpoint. And I thought just by like walking over it, it would work. But no,
Just
you have to do the downward stab move.
Yeah, if you have to
you have to double jump and then press triangle, and you'll do a downward stab.
Hold on. What game was it where you had to do something weird at the save point? Like, was it Final Fantasy VII? I'm trying to remember. There's like a save point, right? You go to it and you have to go into the menu and hit save, but it doesn't. Otherwise, it just is a glowing thing, right?
A lot of the Final Fantasies do it that way.
That's so weird.
It is the only place where you can save. Like, usually you can save on the overworld map too.
Right. That's probably what it was. I'm thinking of. I just thought that was so bizarre. Like, why just have a pop-up? Like, why bother even? It's so weird.
But yeah, so that's just checkpoints. But it's good because you need to know that downward stab move anyway, because that allows you to finish off enemies that you've knocked to the ground.
There you go.
In one more hit. But the other weird thing, the game is just structured in a very odd way, because there's, I think, 5, maybe 6 worlds. Mm-hmm. And the second level of each world is a hub. Like, and literally it's labeled as level 2, but it actually functions as a hub to levels 3, 4, and 5. And once you beat levels 3, 4, and 5, you'll be able to access the boss from level 2, which is the hub. So it's odd, but in every one of those hub stages, there is this little lake that you go to, and that is where you save, but you have to spend coins to do so. So you have to spend money to save your game.
Goodness.
So you can't kind of just do it whenever, but that's
actually kind of clever.
I brought it up talking about Plock, because it just kind of like Plock Continues. Like, it's a weird system that seems arbitrary and hard, but it leads to you kind of like planning out, like, okay, I've got a couple extra lives. I'm going to beat the next level before I save, because I don't need to save after every level. I think I can beat the next level, and then I'll save after that one. And hopefully like you want to get a save state where you have a lot of power-ups,
right? So
that if you have to reload your save, like, you're in a good position. And like, that's really weird, interesting. But I actually appreciated it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea for a mechanic to have to buy your saves. Kind of makes you rethink the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Plus, when I got to World 4, which is the ice world, I learned that it's not just an ice world, but an ice pirate world.
Oh my gosh. Cool. That sounds awesome.
So yeah, that's I liked it so much, actually, that I looked for a copy of the sequel, because this game did get a sequel on PlayStation 2 as well, called Maximo Army of Zin. It is more pricey. Price charting has it at about like $30-something complete. So I just kind of made some offers on Mercari. Somebody sold it to me for $28 complete in a box.
Nice.
I don't have the manual. My copy of Ghosts of Glory does not have the manual, but it does have the box.
Oh, I recognize this from my days at Game Crazy.
Yeah, it is the spiritual successor to Ghosts and Goblins everybody forgot about.
Yeah, I think the art style turned me off when I first saw it. Otherwise, it probably would have caught my attention, but this cover art just looks so bizarre.
I mean, yeah, it definitely has some of the cheap difficulty that you expect from something that is based on Ghosts and Goblins.
Right.
It has some of the early 3D game jankiness that you might expect, or maybe wouldn't expect from a PS2 game, maybe from a PS1 game. But you get past that, it's like a solid B-tier 3D platformer, I would say.
I love me a B-tier 3D platformer.
I remember this one by the cover. Yeah.
Yeah, so the other thing I was playing on stream, also related to Ghosts and Goblins, oddly enough, was Demon's Crest, which was our Retro Rewind game for October. I did get one ending of the game. You can actually get an ending pretty fast because you can go straight to the boss without even going to every level. I have yet to get the true ending.
Okay.
But yeah, it's an interesting game too. It can be very frustrating at times. I got to this one wolf boss that drove me insane, and that kind of turned me off to the game. I was going to get the true ending, and now I'm like, no, I don't want to now. But yeah, I have most of the items, so I think I have like one more branching path from that last stage before I go to the final stage and fight the boss again. I think he's different when you fight him that time. And then there is actually if you reload, you get like a password, and then you fight like the true final boss. So the game has like 3 or 4 endings.
Oh my gosh.
I think.
The true final boss. This isn't even my final form.
Yep, pretty much. Other than that, I've had some modern stuff. I've been checking out Age of Empires 4, which came to PC Game Pass last week.
I have
definitely a throwback to the old Age of Empires games in a lot of ways.
Nice.
It has immediately reminded me why I prefer turn-based strategy games to real-time strategy games. But I'm still having fun with it.
Is this a
play a couple
real-time?
Skirmishes? Yeah, it's Age of Empires. And what it just drives me insane because anytime I realize I could have done better because I just didn't manage my workers well enough, I get really stressed out. And that's not a concern in turn-based games, but it is in RTS games.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. It is pretty much exactly what you'd expect for a modern take on Age of Empires. And I've also been checking out Pikmin Bloom.
Oh yeah.
Because we love some Pikmin Bloom here, and I still honestly don't get it. Like, it's even less of a game than Pokemon Go.
It's very non-gamey.
I've been enjoying the walks because this came just as fall proper settled in where I live, and the leaves have all changed colors, and the walks have been enjoyable.
So here's my thing, because I'll also talk Pikmin Bloom on my when I have my turn. Here's why I think I like Pikmin Bloom better than Pokemon Go. Here's my take. Pokemon Go, like, kind of in a way felt like Pokemon, like, you know, but it's missing quite a bit of like what Pokemon is. So it got you like halfway there, but like some of it's kind of weird, like
the battles.
Yeah, battles, and like catching Pokemon isn't the same, and like it's cool to like take a walk and see a Pokemon and try to catch it. Like that's cool, but a lot of it like requires you to go outside, and they changed a lot of that with COVID. Like they made it more so you could do more things standing still and not have to walk around your whole neighborhood. But it's still kind of like was never actually Pokemon. And I was obsessed with it for a little bit. And so Pikmin Bloom is like, well, this isn't a game, right? We're not trying to be Pikmin. We are just encouraging you to take walks and to build your army. And like there is combat in a real Pikmin game. But I think I just like how this game incentivizes you more. And you're right, it's super non-gamey. It kind of just gamifies taking a walk. That's what it does. It's like, oh, you took this many steps today. Like, good for you. Look at you. What do you got? Oh, did you get that from me?
I got that one from Sam.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
Send him a postcard.
Sam's postcard.
Got a postcard from Sam.
And there's a lot that feels kind of half baked right now, but I imagine they're going to kind of flesh it out like they did with Pokemon Go, where like, you know, the flowers are going to do more.
My biggest disappointment is that they call fruits by their actual names. What? Yeah. Peaches, apples, pears. What is this? Those are dapper blobs and citrus lumps. Dang it.
That was disappointing. And no Olimar in sight. I want to see some Olimar.
Well, it's because you're on the planet Earth. So I mean, I can understand if you're on a different planet. I
don't know. I think canonically in Pikmin, you're on planet Earth and you just don't know it. I've honestly been having tons of fun with Pikmin Bloom. Like, I guess I understand that people are disappointed with it, but I ain't. I'm digging it. I gave every Pikmin an individual name. I have like, what do I have? 77 Pikmin now, and they all have their own name. So that's how I roll. Also, this week I was jumping in to a bunch of NSO Nintendo 64 games. This bad boy came in. Oh, the controller. Boy, this thing is a dream, man. It feels exactly how I would imagine a brand new N64 controller would feel. But like, it also kind of feels better. Like the stick feels more like less clunky and more responsive. Like all of my controllers, all of my actual controllers, and this might just be a product of age, but even the ones that are like really tight, because I have a couple that have some really nice sticks, moving them around still has a little like weird, clunky, like springy feel to it. Like a very slight, but you can feel it. But the new NSO controller doesn't have any of that. It's very smooth. So I almost want to be like, can I use this on an N64? Like, where's my reverse USB adapter so I can use it? Somebody's got to come out with that because I want to use it. Just a Bluetooth adapter. Yeah.
8-bit do, right?
Yeah. Somebody's got to do that. But so I played a bunch of games. I played a bunch of Mario 64. I played some Yoshi's Story, more Star Fox because that's the best. So a little bit of Sin and Punishment, and I haven't fired up Ocarina yet. What was the other one that I played? And Win Back. And so there are some very valid complaints about the offerings. The most glaring that I've experienced is the controller lag, which I don't love, and I imagine it's a byproduct of their like AI up-resing, having to do a lot of heavy lifting. I hope that they patch that because it is affecting stuff, especially in a game like Star Fox. It's very twitchy. And I played some Mario Kart as well. And that was a little hard with the delay, with the lag. It wasn't as noticeable in handheld mode. So I wonder if some of it is just the wireless controller or like the HDMI on the TV.
Wireless is always going to introduce some latency.
Yeah, and so is HDMI.
That would be more pronounced on N64 than it is just, using a Switch Pro controller to play a Switch game wirelessly.
And I think that's why it has to do with the up-resing, the AI up-resing they're doing. Instead of like native up-resing or doing it themselves. I don't know. I don't really know how all that works. I don't pretend to know, but I read a lot about it and people seem to know what's wrong, or they think they do. Also, apparently the online can be really bad, but that's not news. That is sometimes how it is.
Yeah, and I will say, whatever you hear about it, keep in mind it depends on the strength of your connection, the strength of the other person's connection, and how far apart you are.
And who the host is and how strong their connection is. So there's a lot of factors there. But honestly, all that being said, overall, like it plays great. Like, yeah, like I guess some of the graphics aren't the same as they were on the Wii. But Star Fox plays amazingly, and it's still one of my favorite games of all time. And Mario 64 is amazing. I mean, I don't know, like there are problems, but it doesn't take away from the awesomeness that is just the raw N64 library, I think. And the controller is killer. So I'm kind of like in a weird place where I'm like, wow, yeah, like it could be better, but I'm still having fun. So, you know.
Do you feel like Nintendo's going to get better at it with maybe some fixes come along, and it get just like any of these things that they've released, it gets better and better with time?
I hope so. I mean, they're going to release more games, definitely. I don't remember them doing any patches. I don't know if they did patches to the NES or SNES apps, but
yeah,
I would
imagine other apps never really had problems.
I guess that's true.
Extent.
Yeah, I would imagine that the latency is a big enough issue that they would patch it. I
imagine they would have to do something if they want to include games that use the expansion pack, like Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
They would probably have to do something unless they just kind of planned for it already and that capability's in there.
I don't know. We'll have to see. But I hope they patch it. I think they will. And online is a whole different animal. But overall, I'm having fun, and the controller is killer. Those are my takeaways.
Yeah, I would not expect online to change. I mean, this is what you get with the actual online service. The online service is covered in, the base package, which most people think is an okay deal, at least. And it's all peer to peer, and
that's never going to be
anything you could do with netcode to disguise latency, which is essentially what netcode usually does, would have to be on a game-to-game basis. And I think quantity over quality is kind of the point of doing a N64 app instead of re-releasing every game individually.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's a shame, but it does make sense. And so use that Ethernet port on your OLED if you have one. There you go. Use it. Yep. Or get an adapter for your old OG Switch. Let's play some Price is Retro, guys. What do you think? Yes. Let's do it. All right, if this is your first time playing Price is Retro, this is how we play. I'm going to list off 4 to 6 games, and you're going to guess how much the games are worth in total, dollars and cents. Whoever's the closest out of all of us to guessing the actual price of the lot wins that round. Everyone has a list. We each have a list, and everyone is going to guess each other's lists. And we also have a ghost player, who I think we have affectionately named the Poltergeist. He's the Poltergeist, and he always guesses $300 on every lot. And so if he wins, we all lose. So we got to beat the Poltergeist, He's a cool guy, but, I don't want him to win. John's not with us this week, so Sam, you're going to try to run that spreadsheet as best you can. Hopefully we don't mess anything up for Flightsy. And I'm going to go ahead and do my list first so you can get a handle on that spreadsheet here. I think you should be able to handle it. You're a smart guy. I certainly can't handle it, which is why you're doing it. John literally asked you. He didn't even ask me. He's like, Sam, just do this. Dan's not
I think you tried once. I don't know if the spreadsheet has changed since.
You know what? I'm happy to not do it.
I believe it has, because he had to add the ghost after that.
Okay, so here's my list. Make sure y'all keep track. We've got Silent Hill HD Collection for the PlayStation 3, complete in box. NCAA Football 14 for the PlayStation 3, complete in box. Splatterhouse for the PlayStation 3, complete in box. And Best of PlayStation Network Volume 1, PlayStation 3, complete in box. That's my list.
Best of PlayStation Network?
Yeah, it's got 4 PSN games on it.
Wow.
Fat Princess.
Isn't that that's like the only way to play Fat Princess.
That is the only way to play Fat Princess now, yes. And I don't even think I don't even think you can play online anymore. I think it's only local play. or single player, which is not fun with Fat Princess. IIRC.
Okay, I'm going to guess 175.
Okay. Tim, what you got for me? That's a nice,
I am tallying up.
That's a nice hat, by the way.
Thanks.
I like that hat.
My
8-bit Bowser shooting Mario with fire.
Yes, I love this hat. It's my treasured hat. And I have no idea what I'm doing, so I am just guessing at some of these things at what I think could be and what I remember seeing. Like,
okay, that's a good way to play.
Like when I went to GameStop or
sometimes you just gotta guess
places.
Too, sometimes stuff goes up or down.
So when I'm trying to add it up right now. So 5, 10, 15, 18, 3, 6, 7, 8. I got 188.
Okay. All right, Tim, Sam, you got those numbers in there?
I think they're in the right spot.
All right, good.
We'll see.
This is a test run to see if we can get this to work without John. Okay, so the total value of the lot is $244.63.
Wow.
You guys were closer than I thought you were going to be. Way closer. Because some of these are wacky.
I had to think twice about that best of PlayStation Network.
Here's the individual games value, and I'm sure y'all will be surprised by some of these. Silent Hill HD Collection is $19.99, so go buy that right now. NCAA Football 14 is $88.80.
Wow. I was way off on that one.
Apparently, that's the last NCAA football game ever made.
Oh, that's right. That's why.
And that was the year after the PS4 and Xbox One came out, if I remember correctly. Like the year of or the year after. So nobody bought it on PS3 or Xbox 360. So not only is it's even like a pretty sought after game on those consoles, but this one's especially difficult to come by.
I didn't even think of that avenue. I always thought like the sports games were always cheap because
they are, and that's why I'm tricky. You gotta think twice. I
gotta remember that. Keep my eye on you.
Splatterhouse for the PS3, which is an amazing game, and everybody should try to buy it. Unfortunately, it's $75.85, but it's still pretty killer.
Okay.
Best of PlayStation Network Volume 1 goes for $59.99 complete.
Wow. I had that as more.
Yeah. I really wanted to pick that up because of Fat Princess, but I'm holding off. I'm going to try to find it for cheap somehow. And that's my list. Sam, how do we do?
Yeah, so Tim takes that round.
Yeah.
His guess was 188, difference of $56.63.
All right. Did he beat the Ghost?
Yes.
Yay.
I think. I don't see a difference for the Ghost.
Uh-oh.
So the total is 244, so the Ghost should have been off by... No. The Ghost beat you by like 20 cents.
Bro! Frickin' Poltergeist, dude.
Dang it, Poltergeist.
That's right. You're still the number one human player.
I see it now, yeah. The Ghost by 55.37. I was just trying to math it in my head there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, Tim, you're still the human victor of that round. Good job. Good job. Sam, can you say your list and run the spreadsheet? Let's really put you to the test.
Yeah. I mean, I already put my total lot value in there, so I'll just have to get your guesses.
Okay. Sweet.
So I'll read. I have a whopper of a list this week.
Oh boy.
You I think on air you claimed I wasn't listening when you talked about game titles that were made up or guessing which titles were. So I have a list of game titles I totally did not make up.
Oh my God.
There's 6 of them. Starting with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
I can't believe
for the Xbox 360.
Ridiculous.
Complete in box.
Revengeance.
Rex Nebular and the Cosmic Gender Bender for the PC. Complete in box.
Cosmic Gender Bender.
I think that's a LucasArts game, actually.
Oh my gosh. Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like a point and click adventure game.
That might change my price if it is. All right, keep going here. This is ridiculous.
Infinite Undiscovery for the Xbox 360.
What? What's the genre?
I did not make the title.
Genre that.
I honestly don't know.
Oh my god.
I just found the title.
Jeez.
Kingdom Hearts 3. That's complete in box as well. Okay. Actually, all of these are complete in box.
Yeah.
To save that. Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2. I believe that is the correct way to say that title.
The dumbest name. What system is that for?
The Nintendo DS. The DS.
Okay.
Fantastic game.
I'm sure it is.
I have no idea. I'm kidding.
Dumb name though.
My son played it. Though.
I've played it.
Liked it.
I've played it. It is a Kingdom Hearts
Sam
game.
also played it. So yeah, must be a Sam thing.
Sam's love.
And then number 5 on the list, Under Night In-Birth EXE Late CI-R Collector's Edition. I don't know that that's the correct way to say that title. For the PlayStation 4, complete. It's actually a relatively new game.
Oh my god.
Collector's edition as well.
I almost want to make you repeat that, but I think it might break my brain. So we're just gonna.
So last on the list is Juiced 2 Hot Import Nights for the DS.
Okay, I actually know that game. Juiced 2. Complete. That last one is complete in box?
They're all complete.
All complete.
So I'm going to do some quick math. And then 180. My total is $230.
All right. $230 for Dan. Tim, what's your guess?
300.
All right.
He's a ghost.
He's a ghost. Ghosted up.
I'm going with 300.
You'll never lose to the ghost if you always guess 300.
All right, so I believe Dan takes that round.
Okay.
The total difference of $93.84.
What's that total?
The total was $136.16.
Goodness.
Shoot.
I
was thinking I couldn't decide between 300 or half that price. I should have went with the half price.
Literally, almost all of these were shots in the dark.
Yeah, there was no way I was going to be able to guess any of these.
Most of them are not very expensive. So if you think about it, a lot of these platforms aren't. DS games can be weird.
DS games can be weird.
So, Xbox 360 and stuff, generally not seeing a whole lot of activity now.
No, even the same game is usually twice on PS3.
Yeah. Metal Gear Revengeance is $9.
Goodness.
Rex Nebular is $23.10. Infinite Undiscovery for the Xbox 360 complete, $11.11.
Now I'm looking that up.
Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2 for the DS, $26.97.
Mm-hmm.
That's $4.
Under Night In-Birth EXE Late CI-R is $58.99.
Oh, I was actually close on that one.
That is the collector's edition. So, and Juice 2 Hot Import Nights for the DS, $6.99.
Yep. Bottom of the barrel. This is a Square Enix game, Infinite Undiscovery. It looks like
Undiscovery. That's not a word, I'm pretty sure.
Not. It looks like Xenoblade. The screenshots do. So somebody out there who has played this, please tell me what the hell's going on in this RPG.
I'm curious about the Underbirth one.
That is a fighting game. I've at least seen that. I was at a Smash tournament. It was going on as a side event.
Sam,
it's a very like Guilty Gear kind of fighting game.
Gotcha.
That was a doozy of a list, bro.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I try. Had to make up for missing last week.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
All right.
Hit us with your list.
All right. I've got 4 games.
Okay.
I've got, and they're all complete in box. WCW versus NWO Revenge.
For what?
These are all going to be for the Nintendo 64.
Okay. What's the condition?
Closed in box.
Complete in box.
Complete in box. Excuse me.
Complete in box.
In box. Yeah.
Okay.
WCW Nitro.
Okay.
WWF No Mercy. And WWF Attitude.
Okay.
I was talking about earlier how I didn't play very much N64 except for with friends whenever we could get our hands on some multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Like the wrestling games.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These were the ones.
So all those are complete in box N64?
Correct.
Okay.
I think I'm actually going to... Okay, we'll do that. Sam, you go first.
Complete in box always trips me up, especially with a cartridge game. I'm gonna guess 250.
All right. My guess was 175.
Okay. I have the total value being, and that's Dan being the winner here. The total value is $178.15.
Whoa! Dude.
$178.15. Dan with the $175 guess.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So I have WCW versus NWO Revenge is $36.03.
Mm-hmm.
WCW Nitro is $35.63. WWF No Mercy is $79.99.
Yeah.
And WWF Attitude is $26.50.
So I don't know if you listened to last week's episode yet, Tim, but I actually had No Mercy on my list, but
did you?
But I had the -1 serial number version. Do you know about that?
Okay. Yeah, I saw it on the list. I don't know the difference, but I saw it on the list.
So everybody who listened last week already knows, but I'll tell you. There was a glitch in the original No Mercy that would like erase your save file. Oh, so they had to reissue all of the cartridges, and the reissue has a -1 at the end of the serial number.
Okay.
And it goes for like $400 because nobody rebought No Mercy. They already had, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So, and I kind of already knew that price because I was looking at that game last week. So it's not, I didn't cheat, but like, I was already doing
at least you had the $80 down.
Yeah. But the other ones I guessed like around 30 on each of them because I didn't know for sure, but I knew they weren't a lot because wrestling games typically don't excel in price.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good confidence boost for me today. Thank you, Tim.
Very well done.
Sam, how's that spreadsheet going?
It's good. I think I'll see how I work in the guest lists.
We've got a list from Flightsy per usual, our favorite one of our favorite Prices Retro aficionados. He always gives us a guess, like he'll give us like a hint of the theme, then we have to guess what games we think are going to be on there. So this week the hint is, let's get this spin-off party started. Spin-off party. So I'm thinking it's going to be like Sonic Shuffle, like Pac-Man Fever.
Party game spin-offs.
That kind of like Mario Party spin-offs,
Wily No Right board.
Dokapon Kingdom. that kind of stuff.
That is the series, though. I think party game spin-offs of
Dokapon
games that aren't party games.
Well, I'm thinking like spin-offs
like
of
Mario Party to Mario. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's see what we got here. Game number 1 is Mario Party Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Oh, he went straight up. Party games for this one. Let me see here. Mario Party Advance for the GBA, complete in box. Gotta put my guess in. Complete in box, bro. Then we have Mario Party DS for the DS, complete in box. Then we have Mario Party e-reader for the e-reader, complete in box. I don't even. Yeesh. E-reader. Mario Party Island Tour for the 3DS, complete in box. Mario Party Star Rush for the 3DS, complete in box. Oh yeah, there were 2 Mario Parties on the 3DS. That's weird. And finally, Mario Party The Top 100. There were 3 Mario Party games on the 3DS? Bro. Mario Party.
I didn't have any of them.
Top 100 for the 3DS.
I think we had all 3 of those in my house.
Yeah, I think I have the boxes for some of them that you you generously
because they got
donated.
lost.
Yeah.
The games got lost.
All right.
Horror story there to talk about sometime.
It's 170. Okay, I have my guess. I'll go first. I'm going to say $260. Who got a number for me? Is it you? Is it Sam? Is it Tim? Is it me again?
$211.
Ooh. If you're dead on, I'm gonna call shenanigans on that.
No, I was gonna guess 210, and I'm like,
get fancy,
let's be crazy.
Yeah. Tim's over there thinking real hard.
I got 270. I didn't hear your guys' guesses.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you were right around mine. Mine was 260.
Okay.
So we'll see. So actual retail price of the total. Ooh, $315.11.
$315.11.
Yeah, that means that the ghost beat Tim again, but he's the reigning human champ of this list. And of course, as always, Flightsy, we've got a theme explanation. First we'll do the individual games. Mario Party Advance is $105.38. Mario Party DS is $14.95. E-reader is $142.58, bro.
Jeez.
Whew. Island Tour $13.41. Star Rush $17.76. Good year. Top 100 is 2103, and the total being 315.11 again. And his theme explanation: I've always wanted to do a list made out of spin-offs of a spin-off series. I think it's an interesting concept. I decided to do lists specifically on Mario Party spin-offs because they were the first examples of spin-offs of a spin-off series that I could think of. Once I thought of the title, let's get this spin-off party started, I was pretty much locked in. Maybe a more general list of spin-offs will come later. Thank you, Flightsy, as always. Your lists are entertaining.
That's awesome.
And fun.
I was not expecting the e-reader one to be that. I had it as the highest game in the list, but highest cost on there, but I didn't have it. It's double what I guessed.
I know. I guess I went super low on that. I don't know what I was thinking.
I had 75 on that one, but again, it was double that.
Yeah.
Apparently, so.
If I had even gotten close to that price, I probably would have won. But
Sorry, what was Tim's guess again?
I had 270.
270.
All right.
And what was the total for your lot, Tim?
The total for my lot was $178.15.
Sweet.
All right, sorry, I got mixed up. I forgot that Tim was John on the spreadsheet.
Oh, okay. You good now?
I think so.
Okay, sweet. We have one more guest list. Good friend of the show, community member Galaxy Wolf, giving us a list, and I am going to clear my notes, and we're going to pull up this list first. Here we go. The first game is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for the GameCube, complete in box. Sonic Unleashed for the PS3, complete in box. Sonic Unleashed is the one where he's like a werewolf, right?
Which system again? GameCube?
PS3. Unleashed was PS3. These
PS3,
are all,
okay.
Yeah, these are all complete in box.
Yeah. Twilight Princess for the GameCube, Sonic Unleashed for the PS3.
Okay.
Persona 5 for the PS4, complete in box. Celeste for the Nintendo Switch, complete in box. Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PS2, complete in box. And Mario and Luigi Dream Team for the 3DS, complete in box. All right, let's get some totals here. Okay. Sam, why don't you go first this time?
Okay. I'm going to say 185.
Okay. I've got 251 because I'm following your lead there, Sam. 251. And then Tim burning the midnight oil over here.
226. That's probably way high, but I'm going to say 265.
That was right on with me. I said 251.
Okay.
All right. So let's get
I'm probably wrong.
a total here. Boom. Total is $222.52. So
wow.
I think that's me.
That's you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's you. You're off by 28.48.
Sweet. Sweet, you guys. All right, let's get Galaxy Wolf's totals here. Twilight Princess on the GameCube is $99.15. Sonic Unleashed for the PS3 is $11.02. Persona 5 for the PS4 is $11.27. Celeste for the Switch is $74. Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PS2 is $9.49. Mario and Luigi Dream Team for the 3DS, complete in box, is $17.59. And again, that total is $22.52. And his theme was two sides of the same coin. So, two sides of the same coin. I guess these are games on a different console or something. Two sides of the same coin is the theme. Interesting theme. I'm trying to get like what they all have in common. Like they're all multi
kind of light
Kingdom
world,
Hearts.
dark world, or alternative.
Yeah.
Like Persona has that.
Yeah.
Celeste has. You have what's her name? The main character, and Madeline and Badeline. There, yeah, the like anti-Madeline. She's called
good.
Badeline.
I haven't played a lot of these, like Kingdom Hearts 2. I haven't played. So
Twilight Princess has Link and Wolf Link, I guess.
yeah, I got that one, and I got Unleashed, and I got Dream Team, but the rest of them I haven't played enough to know. That's cool. I like that theme, Galaxy Wolf.
That's
a
cool.
good one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Had me thinking for a minute. So that's all of our lists, guys. Sam, who won?
If I'm not mistaken, you have won, Dan.
Heyo.
Good job,
Crushing
Dan.
it with a total difference of $96.99, if I've got that right.
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Tim is in second with a total difference of $220.47, and I am in last with a total difference of $391.48. The ghost is broken.
Oh no.
It's saying that the ghost
We broke.
I messed something up. It says the ghost total difference is over 1,000, and I'm pretty sure that's not right.
No, it's not. That's okay.
That's funny.
That's all right. The ghost is just for funsies. Poltergeist, sorry we broke you. John will be back.
I'm so happy.
I'm pretty sure the ghost actually beat me, so...
I'm so happy I was able to hold my own. That's all I'm happy about.
Yeah, you did great. Price is Retro is all about the nuance. You really got to pick up on the nuance of a list and really get into the mind of the creator. That's what it's all about. If you want to submit a list, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, I want you to read my list live on the podcast, not live, but on the podcast, simply DM me. DM me wherever you are. Twitter and Discord are the best ways to get in contact with me, and tell me, hey, I have a list for you, and I will send you instructions. It's really easy, but we just got to make sure that nothing is spoiled before the episode so everybody can play. Fair. And make sure you check out the Price is Retro database in the Discord server, in the Price is Retro channel. It's got stats for almost all of our previous games. Flightsy's been working really hard on that. He is kicking butt doing that for us. And there's tons of info in there. So make sure you go check that out. So we are going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we've got the show topic for the show. We've got some community couch questions coming in later. So stay here. Don't go anywhere. Stay right. Don't stop listening to your podcast. Unless you have to go do something. But then just make sure you come back to it. So... all right, let's go take a break. Welcome back. Thanks for not leaving. And if you did leave and you're coming back, then thanks for that too. And if you didn't come back, then how are you hearing this? So either way, thanks.
Magic.
We have magic. The magical podcast world. We've got a very interesting topic for today. We're talking about the history of game remakes. Remakes, not remasters, not reboots, and not something else. Remakes. And just so we all have a clear understanding of what a remake is, the term actually remake and remaster come from the film industry, actually, where, if you remake a film, then you're starting from the ground up. You're reshooting the entire film. You're not using any of the original assets, but you are essentially sticking to very close to the same script, telling the same story, using almost all of the same elements. You're just kind of making an updated version of it. What's something I can think of off the top of my head that did that?
As far as a film?
Yeah, I guess there's been a bunch of them lately.
Oh. Well, like an example.
Yeah, Metroid.
Sorry, I know you're talking about films. Samus
Returns is like a quintessential and same thing with Link's Awakening. They totally remade those games from the ground up. Sometimes they're not as easy to spot. Like technically, Shadow of the Colossus HD was rebuilt from the ground up. It just looks so similar to the original that you wouldn't be able to tell. So it can be hard to spot sometimes. Now, a remaster is when, in the film industry, is when you would take an old film and either colorize it or release it in HD, do something to the original film that would enhance it for a modern audience. Most of the time that means bringing it to HD. Sometimes it means retweaking some balancing or the controls, or even changing a few of the assets, but not rebuilding it from the ground up.
Like Star Wars.
Right, exactly. Star Wars is a really good example because they did add a scene and like change some CG, but it's right. Essentially a remaster from, now with video games, that gets a little complicated because sometimes you have a situation where they're basically using the same assets, but they changed enough for it to be considered a remake.
Video games break all the rules when it comes to this.
So we're trying to nail down what it means, but there's a lot of discussion that could be had about what counts as what. Like there's arguments all the time about the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D games, because there's a lot of reused assets, but they had to rebuild a lot from the ground up. So it's kind of both. And there's some other examples of that. So we're not going to stick to a hard and fast rule, but we will have the discussion probably throughout this topic. So just be aware that we're not here to tell you what is a remake or remaster. We just have our own rules about it. So I have a list of some of my favorites. So I thought maybe we could go around the horn and try to come up with some really early examples and slowly make our way to more modern examples. I think the one that kind of pops into everybody's mind, or it should, when we're talking about early examples of remakes, is the Super Mario All-Stars games for the Super Nintendo. Tim, you threw your hands up. You were like, "There goes mine."
Why don't you write that down?
Why don't you start? I know. Why don't you? But that's the thing, right? That's kind of the example of an early.
Yes. Definitely the first one that come as you were talking about it. I was getting ready to write it down because that was my first. I bought it for the Super Nintendo. So
did you own the original trilogy on the NES ahead of time, or did you just buy
I did not have an NES before. Again, this was one of those systems that my friends had, but my parents were like, "No, you got an Atari 5200. You don't need an NES."
I'm so sorry.
So
I'm so sorry.
So yeah, that was fine and dandy. But then as soon as I got a job and saved my own money and stuff, I got a SNES. So yeah. And that's how come I was able to get the All-Stars game.
So your first,
and be able to play those.
So your first exposure to Mario was the All-Stars?
Well, other than going to Kmart and playing the demo of it,
okay,
or playing at a friend's house. That was, I got exposed to it.
So what was
other avenues?
What was your? Did that kind of? Do you feel like you have kind of a unique perspective on that trilogy? Coming from a place of like, well, the way that I played them and the way that I remember them is from the All-Stars trilogy.
Right. If I sat here and analyze it, because that's a great question. And I think maybe it's how it did impact me as a gamer growing up, because I always prefer if a company or a designer or whatever decides to enhance their game, make it better, then I want to play that better version. So if Miyamoto was like, "Hey, let's do 16-bit versions of the 8-bit games, let's do that." And I remember I thought it was better. I was like, "Hey, this is great. It's, I'm playing it on the Super Nintendo with the Super Nintendo capabilities on these older games, and I enjoyed it immensely." Especially Super Mario 3.
We're definitely products of like where we were raised on, Yeah. It's like I have a hard time playing the All-Stars games. But like me and my big brother had an NES, that's what we played, right? So like I'll play All-Stars and be like it's cool, but like I want original, and you totally
want the original.
That. Yeah, exactly.
I totally see that. Yeah.
I'm not too strong on it either way, but I mean, I grew up with All-Stars. I never had an NES. I had a SNES, so this was my introduction to Mario. I might have actually played Super Mario World before I played All-Stars. I don't know, but I've never understood why people are so stuck on it. It's usually the people who are like, "No, this isn't the original. Get this out of here." I don't come across as many people who are like diehard. "No, this has to be the All-Stars version."
So interesting. Like,
I don't know. I just don't have a strong preference for either one.
I don't have to have an All-Stars version, but I did enjoy that immensely when I had it.
I try to be pretty open with stuff, but like if you give me the option, I'm going to play the original every time. Then maybe now I need to buck my own trend and actually just go and play the All-Stars for a while and see how it fits on me. It's on NSO, right? I can just go on there and pop it up. So we're gonna give that a shot. I think I'm gonna have to broaden my horizons a little bit with the All-Stars and see if I can catch a liking to it, because it's been a while since I've done the original trilogy, so I think I can stomach it. So a game. So this is an interesting one for me. Moving on a little bit, Alien Syndrome for the Sega Master System, which is also in the arcades, but that I played it on the Master System. Kind of a single player or like taking turns based gauntlet style, like top down arcade like shooter game. I loved it. They made and I don't even know if this constitutes really as a remake so much as it does like a total reboot of the series, because it's not like there was a lot to go by back in those 8-bit days, right? It's like there's a character, there's an alien, you shoot it. They did modern takes on Alien Syndrome for the Wii, PS2, and PSP. And I love those games. That was an early Wii game when there wasn't much else out, and so I picked it up and I totally fell in love with it. It's still a top-down multi-directional shooter, but it has, upgrade systems and like multiple weapons, and it totally like takes the whole thing and modernizes it. So you could argue that it's a reboot, even though like they dropped it after that one game. They were like, hey, we're done now, which is a shame. But it's just one of my all-time favorites, and it's cheap. So if you're a collector and you want to check out a cool remake of an old arcade game, I recommend Alien Syndrome. It's also 4-player co-op, so you can't go wrong there. Grab a couple friends. Multi-directional top-down shooter. Either of you guys play this one?
Nope.
Nada. Zip. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's very cheap on the Wii, so I recommend a pickup with a couple of friends. Sam, what about you? What did you have on your list?
Yeah, I mean, I brought up a couple. One that stood out to me was, along with Mario All-Stars, because this was also the first way I experienced this game, was Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland on the Game Boy Advance, which is a remake of Kirby's Adventure for the NES.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's, this is the first. So that was the first game to introduce Kirby's copy ability. The original Kirby's Dream Land, there was no copy ability. Our friend Flightsy pointed out that game never truly got remade, but it gets referenced a lot. And I think that's the reason why, is because people would freak out if you put a Kirby game in front of them with no copy ability.
That's his thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because ever since his second game, that's what he does. But yeah, Nightmare in Dreamland was actually pretty great. It's kind of interesting because with some of those remakes, because it was my first time playing the game that was remade, I didn't really even know it was a remake. I mean, I was still pretty young. I didn't have the internet. So, yeah. It was just a Kirby game. I played this after having played Kirby Superstar, and I was just like, oh, this is a different Kirby game. And it didn't really feel too much like a step back to me. It felt, it was a Game Boy Advance game, so it kind of felt like a Super Nintendo game as well. By then I'd played Kirby 64, but I knew those were just very different systems to play on. So, yeah. And that's pretty much where I land with remakes is most of the time I really only care if it's not a game I've played before, at which point, it's really only relevant to me because it's a game that's for some reason I missed out on.
That's interesting.
I feel like I'm in the minority here, but I really don't care if a game I like gets remade, because I want a sequel, not the same thing. Sure. If I want to replay, I'm not asking for a Plock remake. If I want to replay Plock, I'll just replay Plock.
I'm asking for anything.
I think the old stuff holds up fine. And that goes for anything. And this is kind of where I fell. I know everybody was super hyped for the Link's Awakening remake on Switch, and I was like, I played this game on my Game Boy. Like, the game is the same. Like, I don't need it to be prettier to play it again. If I really want to play it again, I'll just get my Game Boy.
Yeah, I think you are in the minority there, Sam.
I know, I'm a weirdo. I don't like buying the same game multiple times.
I didn't even believe what I was seeing when Link's Awakening happened. It was like I fell asleep and this is happening and there's no way, and I'm going to wake up and it's not going to exist anymore, like the Windfish, you know what I mean? I was over the moon. I was like, I'm buying this 4 times. I don't understand. Oh man. I still want that European steel case. It looks like a Game Boy.
So the interesting thing with me is then I almost feel like, a lot of the times remakes add new content, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like, well, if you're adding new content, like, it's like, but I do want the new content, but I don't want to play through the whole game again, or I don't want to, have to pay for an entire game again to get what's essentially DLC bundled with it. And sometimes I get frustrated because it's like, it feels like I'm getting coerced into buying that game again that I don't want to.
I feel that.
Just so I can get the new stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting when remakes do things like that.
What do you think, Tim? Does a game you've never played before being remade entice you more than something you love being remade?
I'm trying to,
it's kind of a catch-22 though, because if at this point, especially, I've had time to catch up on stuff. I can find retro games. Like, if I didn't have an interest in the game before, why would I now?
Well, but you just said, sorry, Tim, let's get your answer.
I was trying to think, because you put a spin on it there. Is usually if it's a game I didn't get to play and they came out with a new version, like the All-Stars that we just talked about, right? And that's my way of being able to play it, because I can't somehow go back to the other game and play it, then I'm all for it. I have no problems with that, because I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Other than maybe, I got to play, a demo or something like that. If I did play it before and it's a game I hold dear and they remake it, I am probably going to critique it a little harder than I would a game I didn't play. But for me, I'm a type of gamer who likes to see those enhancements made to make the game better. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's things that, what's the term again? To make things easier for you when you're playing a game. The
quality of life.
Quality of life. Thank you. Quality of life.
Jinx
stuff. So like adding a map or something that wasn't there before, mm-hmm.
Type
of thing.
Well, yeah, I think especially with a remake, if you're like throwing everything out the window and starting from scratch, I expect there to be some pretty major improvements upon what's happening. And actually, this was kind of both something that people praised and cursed Link's Awakening for, because there are dungeons in that game that are incredibly obtuse and hard to figure out. And they didn't change it. They were like, that's the dungeon. We already made it. It just looks better now. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the game for me.
I think a lot of it goes back to me. I'm not a graphics guy. I'm not a presentation guy. Mm-hmm. Like it all comes down to the gameplay. And a lot of these remakes are basically, well, we have a game that's good, but for whatever reason, it's not presentable. We have to make it HD. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes that's more remaster. But I think there's a lot of remakes that, to me, are essentially the same thing as a remaster, because you don't change the actual game part. You change the visuals, the assets, the graphics. And Link's Awakening falls pretty close to that, and because it is, it's still a game on a grid even, mm-hmm. and it is square for square Link's Awakening, which, don't get me wrong, like, I like Link's Awakening. I just don't see a need for a new game at that point. If you're going to make it new, then you need to change a lot for me to be interested. But at the same time, if it was a game I liked, then I don't think it needs to be changed.
That's right. I'm the same. I'm of two minds. I'm like, man, it would have been really cool for them to make Link's Awakening play like Wind Waker. Like, I'd be down for that any day. But I'm also kind of glad that it's still just Link's Awakening. Like, I guess I would have been happy either way. And there's, pros and cons. I think a game that I wrote down here, and that comes to mind when we're talking about games that like were rebuilt, but also kind of went further than rebuilding, like expanded upon it, was Blaster Master Zero. And I think we all played Blaster Master Zero because it was like the only game to play on our Switches when it first, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It was that or Snipper Clips. And like it starts out the same as Blaster Master, but it kind of takes, and I guess it's essentially the same game, but they just added so much quality of life to it that it's borderline a reboot at that point. But that's a great example of taking things above and beyond.
Well, it turned into a reboot.
Yeah.
As I understand, I never got very far in the NES Blaster Master, but as I understand, like, it is pretty much level for level, like Blaster Master.
Yeah.
But then they made Blaster Master Zero 2, which is a fully original game. Because the first game just did so well.
Well, that's the other thing, too, about some of these games, especially if it takes a while before they do a remaster or a remake. Is how long it took in my memory of that past game when I go to play the new game. How much of that previous game do I remember? And when I go into it, am I just going to think of it as a new game anyways?
Right.
So like for me, it's like I didn't play all the way through Metroid, so because it actually kind of turned me off in some instances when I played the first original Metroid game. But when they came out with Zero Mission, that made me want to play it more.
That's good. Actually, my brother mentioned that in the Discord when we asked for community submissions. He just says, has anyone mentioned Zero Mission yet? Because that game was dope.
Yes.
Like, yes. That's a great example.
That is. And that's one of the reasons why I really I think we've talked about this before with the Metroid stuff, but between, with Fusion and Prime, when those came out, that's what got me into Metroid, back into it, because I didn't play it for the Super Nintendo. I played Prime and Fusion, and then I dug those games so much that when Zero Mission came out, it was at 2004. And it was like, okay, I get to go back to the original game, but play it on my Game Boy Advance, the same place I really enjoyed Fusion on.
Right.
And play that there. So, again, for me, it's like I didn't have the nostalgia holding me back, I guess, to go back to play a reimagining of the original, Metroid game. Man,
to be fair, though, it's like, because Zero Mission exists, like, nobody should have to go back to original Metroid. There's so much improved that carried over from Super Metroid.
And it's not just the quality of life stuff. Like, the original Metroid doesn't have a map.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it is in a lot of ways, like, yes, the map layout is from the original Metroid, but I mean, you've got like boss fights that play entirely differently.
Yeah, true.
Metroid's actually a great case for this because it's kind of the same with Samus Returns.
Big time.
Like, I've actually never played the Game Boy game, but I played the 3DS game, and I mean, there's whole mechanics in there that I know weren't in the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure. That's quintessential of a good remake, I think, is when it's still the same game, but there's enough quality of life to really kind of make it a new thing. So I want to talk about Star Fox for a second, because this is one that gets brought up between Super Nintendo and N64. That to me is a reboot. That's almost like them saying, oh, I know we made Star Fox 2, but we're actually going to like make Star Fox again, but better. they just totally.
I haven't played a lot of Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, but like there's completely different like layouts to the stages in 64, isn't there?
It's all very much inspired by what was on the Super Nintendo. There's even bosses that are exactly like square for square what was on the Super Nintendo.
Triangle for triangle.
But they kind of took it in a totally different. After that, it's like, well, now we have tanks and submarines, and Andross is different, and there's a whole different story.
Yeah.
And so Reboot to me feels better on Star Fox, because then it was like, well, now we remade them for 3DS. That's a remake because that's the exact same game. It wasn't the same game. It was a very strong inspiration, but
yeah, and just like, I mean, people complain that Zero is a remake of 64, but I would say the same thing there. That's not. It's another reboot.
Reboot, yeah, exactly. There was way more different in those two games than you could.
I mean, I guess it's, to some people the important thing is that because it kind of went back and told the same story again, at least appeared to. It's kind of unclear with Zero.
Yeah,
but I think to me, the important thing is whether or not you are redesigning the whole game, not just retelling a story and then making imposing a new game on the same story. And that's the interesting case, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know a lot of people feel this way. That's not even a remake. That is a new game calling itself Final Fantasy VII.
But it's the same.
It uses the characters
story?
and themes of 7. No. As I understand, and this is apparently like something of a spoiler, the plot starts to diverge at the end of Part 1 from Final Fantasy VII. And the battle system's entirely different. And it has the characters and places. It has the characters and setting of Final Fantasy VII, but that's it.
That's
as far as its connection to the original game.
That's very interesting.
And some of the story beats, but not all.
They literally call it remake, but I almost feel like if it's a reboot, you're rebooting an entire franchise of games, which it's
weird to reboot a specific Final Fantasy game.
That's what I'm saying.
All the games are not really interconnected, except for they all have chocobos and moogles in them.
Yeah. Exactly. Tim, did you have any other games that popped into your head when we started talking about remakes?
I think there were, but then I was like, wait a minute, these are not remakes. These are actually ports. And I had to be careful of not thinking of ports. Because, again, I was thinking of, well, other games I got to enjoy because they remade them or something. And I was like, no, like Chrono Trigger, I think, was just a port.
Even that is really kind of unclear. Like I found a Wikipedia article on video game remakes, and I looked at some of these and I'm like, that's just a port. Like that's an arcade game that came to Genesis. Like that's a port.
Yeah.
But one that
it came to Genesis like 4 years later, but like I don't know.
Another one that came to mind that I considered a port, but they did have to do the controls on. And again, I'm going to stay in the same manner as Metroid, the Metroid trilogy. They had to redo the controls for that game.
Oh, the Prime trilogy?
The Prime trilogy, yeah.
Well, and was
Prime
that
trilogy.
Okay? That was on Wii, so that didn't have to be up-res to HD or anything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know on a technical level that they really had to remake much of the game.
That's still a remaster.
But it depends sort of like, what about new play control Pikmin?
Yeah, but that's the same. All they did was rework the controls. It's the same. And especially if they're not trying to throw it all in HD. But even if they did, unless they totally redid the whole game. Now, that's an interesting question. What are some games that you would want to see a total remake done of? What do you guys think? What's on your list? Something you'd want to see just a total remake.
One I thought of recently actually was Terranigma.
I think that's
number one because that's a game not available to Americans easily.
I mean, we just got ActRaiser. What the heck?
Yeah. Well,
asking for
that's good. I mean, Square is looking at like the Enix side the quintet stuff. But I kind of look for those games that are interesting.
Hold on a second. Everybody go buy ActRaiser on the Switch. Just go right now on the eShop and go buy it. Let's tell Square that we want more of this. Thank you. That's my PSA.
On my wish list. Does that count?
Yeah, sure. Not yet. You got to pick it up.
All right.
Go, Sam.
Do what you got to do. Get that sale. But yeah, I mean, kind of those, because that is a game that I had some issues with. Like, there are things about that game I want changed, but I also did really like it. And so I think it could be better. And in that case, it makes sense to remake it. Now, obviously, some diehard fans would say, I don't want that to change. But, well, they have the original. I think remaking a game exactly is honestly kind of a waste of resources. Like, right. The original game already exists. At that point, put it through some kind of emulator. And I mean that even in the commercial sense, like, we have commercial emulation of re-released games.
Totes.
Like, do that.
Yeah.
You don't need to change the game, so don't rebuild it from the ground up. That's not necessary.
Yeah, that's very true. What about you, Tim?
So one of the ones that you can't get to or play that much, I think would be cool as a remake. I don't know, maybe even emulated, or I would take a remake, is SimCity, because it's one of the ones I really enjoyed, the Nintendo's SimCity.
Yeah, that's cool. Specifically Super Nintendo SimCity.
Super Nintendo SimCity, yes.
Given the Advanced Wars reboot treatment.
Yeah, that would be great. That would work. 3D. That would work.
Heck
that
yeah,
would look
because I really missed
Advanced Wars style.
I really missed that. And maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know, because I spent hours in that game. But still, I think that would be a cool one to do. A remake on. If Nintendo could get that.
I'm sure they could. What else? What's SimCity doing? Nothing.
Yeah,
I guess it is.
Doing
it's EA now, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I think about it, I'm like, cool. What's really awesome is when they take a game, not from like way back in the day, but like, GameCube, Xbox, PS2 generation, and totally remake it, because you can kind of get the feel of the game with like a totally different, like, I want to see something like Pikmin, like the first Pikmin, right? Because there's some balance problems in that game, but I would love to see that given, like, just built from the ground up in the Pikmin 3 engine, same levels, maybe add some new modes, do whatever you got to do to sell the thing. But I really want to see what that would be like, because the first Pikmin game is such a special place in my library. It's easily one of my favorite GameCube games. And I just think it kind of, it was like the first time they were trying this, and they pulled it off, but it definitely has its issues. I think that would be interesting to see. So we have some community involvement with this topic. I asked the community what some of their favorite reboots were. So we're going to go through some of these guys and see what you guys have to say. So the well-read mage in our Discord community said NES Maniac Mansion, rehauled for the NES, heavily censored, dialogue changed, humor changed, accompanied by music for the first time, very different from the preceding versions, which all came from PC. And I wasn't actually sure if this was an actual remake, but apparently it had to be almost entirely recoded to get it on the NES. So I would count that. What's his name? Fight Crab Fanatic. There we go. That's a tongue twister. Says,
Fight Crab. That's an awesome game.
Right.
That's funny. Somebody named their name.
I think he used to be something else. He changed it recently.
That's awesome.
Does anyone remember Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes for the GameCube? It was loved by critics, but completely forgotten. The Resident Evil remake got more love. I didn't play that. Was that a remake of the original Metal Gear Solid?
Of Metal Gear Solid 2, I think.
2, okay, cool.
I'm not the biggest Metal Gear
Interesting. I think my brother played that. He actually commented about it later on in that thread. Chris HL94, friend of yours, friend of mine. He says, unless you count the Ocarina of Time remastered and the Master Quest on 3DS, I don't really have one. And we definitely count those. They were certainly rebuilt and used a few of the same assets, but we count it. It was very much a different game. Andros, our friend Andros from the Nintendo Pals podcast, he comes to us and says, oh, wait, I changed my mind. It's definitely Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver. His original answer was Mario All-Stars, but everybody said Mario All-Stars, so he changed it. Yeah, so Pokemon is actually the reason why I came up with this topic, because we've got Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl coming out this month. Day one purchase for me. Love that generation of Pokemon. And Pokemon are kind of notorious at this point for the remakes ever since they did the Fire Red Leaf Green remakes on GBA. And they're just a really good example of like how to do it right. You know, they have their current generation and they really intertwine that with the remake really well, or at least they used to. I don't know if there's going to be any interconnectivity between Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Sword and Shield. That's yet to be seen. But I think that it's cool.
I thought all of it connects to Pokemon Home stuff.
Oh, they all do that now. Hold on, don't they? Interesting. My brother Adrock, again, talking about Metroid Zero Mission. Classic. Eric Plunk coming at us with Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, which I totally forgot existed. Super Nintendo game.
Yes.
Do you have experience with that one, Tim?
No, but it made me think of I remember that one for sure, but and it made me think of the Ninja Gaiden DS game too, and I really had a lot of fun with the DS game.
I forgot about that one.
That's not a remake of anything, is it?
I don't think so. I think it's just a sequel.
It's just that was a wacky game. Hold your DS sideways.
I loved it. I loved it, and cool, I had the pre-order with the sword stylus too. Yes,
those things are kind of expensive now. I think the sword stylus.
Of course it is, because I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, of course it is. Flightsy, of course, coming at us with some Kirby. He says Kirby's Dream Land has never been officially remade, but it's been reimagined a few times. In Kirby's Adventure, the final level before the final boss is an homage to Kirby and Dream Land. In Kirby Superstar, the first game mode, Spring Breeze, is also an homage. And both Kirby Adventure and Kirby Superstar got their own remakes, Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland and Superstar Ultra, respectively. Ultra even adds Revenge of the King, which reimagines Kirby's Dream Land's end game, basically hard mode. And finally, Kirby's Blowout Blast is a reimagining of Kirby's Dream Land in 3D. Flightsy is our resident Kirby expert, and we rely on him quite a bit for that. But that was really cool. He had a longer version of that in Discord. I recommend everybody reading it because it's really interesting how weird like the whole Kirby remake situation is. So Spider Shan coming at us with the Game Boy versions of Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3. Totally agree with that one. And then we have Galaxy Wolf coming at us with, so this isn't an early remake, but Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are some of my favorite games in the series. I think they got a lot of unwarranted hate for not being completely identical to the original GBA games, which I didn't mind. I thought Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire were just fine. That is those are our community games. And that pretty much
made me remember Leaf Green and Fire Red.
Yeah,
they redid those too. So
that was the first time that they did any kind of remake with the.
I'm very much not a fan of the Pokemon remakes.
You're not?
I feel like Pokemon changes so little from game to game. We do not need every generation remade in between every release of what feels like too much of the same to me, but.
Yeah, I get you. I've had my periods.
I like Pokemon on the whole, but like I've decided that when it comes to Pokemon, I skip every other generation and I ignore all the remakes. Like I'm not picking up Diamond and Pearl, even though I never picked up the original one, because I'm just like, it's just Pokemon. It's the same.
I kind of did
it's
that.
Pokemon again.
I like inadvertently did the whole skip a generation thing with Pokemon. Like I didn't even play Gold or Silver. Literally didn't even play it. Got back in for Ruby Sapphire and then did not play Black and White. So I guess I'm in a way kind of flipping around a little bit. But I feel, and I played a little bit of Sword and Shield. It was not my jam, but Diamond and Pearl is very special to me. So I will be getting those guys for sure.
I like the underground aspects of Diamond and Pearl.
Yes.
So, which was really cool when I did that with my oldest back when it was on the DS. So it was on the DS, right?
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl. Yep. So those were fun. And I'm not going to be picking these up either because I did play them on the DS. And also I've learned to, if I can, unless my kids drag me into it, stay away from the Pokemon games because I never finish them.
They're a hot mess. They're a lot. I'll admit it. As a Pokemon fan, they are a lot, and I don't even play all of them.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to the Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah. That's going to be great.
So I'm probably going to be getting that one.
Yeah. I just remember when people were talking about doing remakes for everything in the Let's Go style, and I'm like, no, we do not
need. I'm so
need
glad they didn't do that. I was not a fan of
every generation of Pokemon remade 3 times every 3 years. Like, it has to stop at some point.
That was their test run.
Apparently, people are willing to take it way further than I am.
They were like, can we make a 3D Pokemon game? And they did. They did it. All right, well, that's our show topic for this week, guys. I want to hear, if you're listening to this and you did not get a chance to throw us your favorite remake, hit me up on Twitter, RetroLogic Games. Let me know what your favorite video game remake is, or in the Discord, you can do that too. And we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hang out on the community couch, which is decidedly navy blue and very cozy. So come on back and hang out with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are on the community couch now, hanging out. I've got a Dr. Pepper. Tim, what are you drinking on the community couch tonight? What do you got?
High C Orange.
High C Orange. Classic. Sam, how about you?
Honey, lemon, ginseng, green tea. Welcome to Tea Logic.
Oh my God.
It's a thing now.
Get me out of here. Can't. Y'all,
I like a good tea.
Y'all three, you, John, and Tim, and Sam, you guys can just do your own little retro tea podcast or whatever.
I prefer iced. I like mine iced.
Actually, highly ironically, I am drinking tea tonight. I've got an Arizona green tea I'm drinking, but that's mostly sugar. But you know what? Whatever I got to do to get my tea down, right?
Sure.
So on our community couch, we've got questions from the community. Coming up first, we have Fight Crab Fanatic back again, asking us which game series of these 4 has more exhilarating levels. That's the question. Exhilarating levels. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog, Bonk's Adventure, Crash Bandicoot, or Super Mario Brothers. We're talking about the whole series of these games. When I hear the word exhilarating, I have to go Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think Mario is the easy answer here.
For exhilarating?
For anything. Mario's just done so much more. You think about Mario Galaxy, you think about Mario Odyssey. We've got Mario levels where you get to possess a dinosaur and run around the New Donk City and the Waterfall Kingdom. And
I was thinking like retro. Like if I go back and play like Mario 3 or Sonic 3, like the word exhilarating embodies Sonic 3. Like that's the exhilarating game. I wasn't even thinking about the 3D games. I was just like stuck in Retroville over here. Tim, what do you think?
I just heard Metroid, and Metroid, right? That's all it was, right? No. The word exhilarating, I think, is what's throwing it off. First thing in any type of, if you're thinking retro, and you go back and have conversations back in the day about which system was better, everybody was always like, Sonic's faster. You're going really slow on the screen with Mario. And so that is when I played Sonic 2 for the first time, that was pretty exhilarating because I'm still trying. Again, I like I said, I've never played these Sonic games before, other than maybe trying it at a friend's house. But I don't understand. I think I get it now, but I didn't understand what you had to do with Sonic. Like, because of playing Mario first. Like Mario, you're getting through the stage and you're trying to break some blocks and some question marks and get the coins and all that kind of stuff. And Sonic, it seems to me, you're more of trying to get through the course as fast as you can in the best route possible. Am I wrong?
No, that's right.
Okay.
So I'll give Sam this. If we're talking strictly 3D games, then I'll give it to Mario, because Galaxy is pretty exhilarating. There's a lot of fast going in there. Even Odyssey 2 has a lot of sequences that are pretty intense. And Sonic,
exhilarating. I guess if you're saying exhilarating in not just in speed,
but just the feeling of exhilaration,
the feeling of the
intensity,
game.
And speed can be a part of that too. And I will say that I do not think that Sonic. I'm going to piss so many people off. I don't think that Sonic's speed has transitioned to 3D particularly well yet. Just
I never understood the appeal of Sonic. I still don't.
Well, that's okay. Fine. I will say
send
2D,
all your hate mail to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 2D games, Sonic, 3D games, Mario. That's what I'll say. I don't even know why Crash and Bonk are here, but fine.
I'd like to play Bonk, but I have like no experience with it. I don't really care for Crash either, to be honest.
Exhilarating are not words that I used. I like Bonk, but exhilarating is not.
What I can appreciate is that all four have different play styles, I think. Right? They all have different ways to play the game.
Well, Bonk is pretty much Mario.
Is it? Okay.
I think. Like, he attacks differently, but not a lot there that's that different. Now, see, we're just pissing everybody off. We're going to get the TurboGrafx people after us, Sonic people after us. It's bad. This is bad, Tim. I don't know. What
Crash tried to do it a little bit differently, though, right? Because they were using perspective.
Yeah, that was cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just never liked when Crash had you running toward the camera.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
That's always a bad idea.
Trash Turkey coming at us with a question on the couch. He says, what games do you think will be on sale for Black Friday? Which ones are you picking up? I think Tony Hawk 1 and 2 will be cheap, and I would like to add that to the collection.
I think the safe bet is Splatoon 2, because if you are a retail store and you have a bunch of copies of Splatoon 2, you do not want them when Splatoon 3 comes out next year.
That's good. Also, what came out early this year? I bet we'll get
Hunter Rise.
I bet we'll get a bunch of cheap copies of Animal Crossing, because that has. I
honestly don't know if you'll see Monster Hunter Rise get discounted, but it would kind of make sense. Like I feel like you kind of want it discounted before the DLC comes, because nobody is going to want to buy it at full price and buy the DLC. That's like asking a bit much.
I bet you'll see Skyward Sword get dipped. I bet that'll get a dip. Yeah,
that's probably true too.
Mm-hmm. He's probably right about Tony Hawk 2 and Cruisin' Blast as well, if they still have.
Yep, I was just about to throw that one in there. Cruisin' Blast.
That hasn't been out nearly as long though.
Yeah, but it just is one of those games. If they still have physical copies, there was a pretty small run of them, as I understand.
That's true.
because
maybe they'll have a run for
I really have no guess as to like PS5, Xbox One stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe some launch titles, but like they're gonna sell fine. They'll probably have PS3, and I don't even know what they're gonna do, man. It's such a weird. It's a launch year, so it's like so weird. I guess
Returnal, Spider-Man, Miles, one
launch stuff.
Yeah, those might be.
Yeah, maybe. This is a retro show, Trash Turkey. We don't know. Okay, go to the Nintendo dads for that.
Yeah, go to those guys.
Yeah, they know what they're talking about. Maybe. Finally, we have Flightsy coming at us, rounding out the show with a question. If you had a crystal ball that could see into parallel universes, what would you use it for? This doesn't have to be game related. Wow. Parallel.
That's a good question.
I would, not to get too personal, but I would be interested to see what my life would have been like if I didn't move to Austin in 2005. My life was totally different pre-2005. I had different friends, dating a girl, post high school, didn't know what I was doing. And then my life took a total shift. I didn't cut everybody off, but it was like I moved across the country. So like my life totally changed.
Totally changed.
And I am who I am now. But like, who would I be if I didn't do that? Like, what would I be doing?
I think that's a pretty easy one to say, because it's like, you never really know. Like, you make the decision for reasons.
Yeah.
But like, you don't know the people you're going to meet when you move.
Exactly.
But like, those people are going to change you. They're going to change your life. And you have no way of knowing that you're going to make these are the new friends you're going to make.
But like anyone who has that kind of like mark in their life where they're like, like a fork and I'm going this way. Yep. It is very fascinating to me to look back and say like, what would have choice B been like?
It is fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One for me that's odd that I've wondered about a couple times, because I started school early. So because my birthday is at the end of August,
mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird with like the cutoff for age.
Yeah.
Is your kid ready for school? I don't know. And my parents were like, and I did fine in school, so they were right to say
my daughter has to deal with that.
You can read, you can count, go to school, go start kindergarten. And so I did. But like, I always wonder, especially because a lot of my closest friends growing up were in the class the year behind me, if I would have had a much better time if I had waited a year to start school. Wasn't a decision up to me, but.
Wow. Tim, what about you?
One that I've always wondered, because in high school, I had to make a choice between, do I go get a job and do a job thing, or do I continue a pursuit in baseball? Because it was, at the time, I couldn't do both. I'm sure eventually I could have done both. It was like, do I stay working, or do I quit and try to pursue this baseball thing, a sports thing? And I chose to work. I didn't do because I could have made the baseball team. I could have played the baseball team and all that kind of stuff. Maybe some other
made sports. The big leagues.
But who knows? Like, what would have happened? Maybe nothing. But, it would have been interesting, because that was that fork you were talking about, where you make those choices, right? So I always wondered what that would have been like. So it would have been interesting to peek into that parallel universe and see what's going on over there.
Would we be watching you in the World Series this week, or what?
Or watching me be a bum because I didn't make it, So
what do I do now?
Or some old man in the corner talking about how I used to play high school baseball and I hit a home run to win the game.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's cool. Yes. I want to hear the community's answers to this too. What's like a mark in your life where you'd be like, I want to see what it would have been like if I did X instead of Y? That's such a great question. Yeah, and that just about rounds out the show for us. Tim, why don't you tell the folks, if they're not already familiar, who the Nintendo Dads are, what y'all do, and where they can find you guys?
We're just this small indie podcast off in the corner of the internet.
The freaking mothership.
Nintendo Dad's been around for a long time, and I came in much later, but you can find us pretty much anywhere on social media under Nintendo Dad's label. We have our podcast that we do. You can look first there. And of course, we have all of our friends in our Discord community, as well as spread out amongst all the other communities that touch upon each other. So it's a big happy family. So
you guys keep it clean like we do. We try to make it so that our kids can listen with us.
Yes.
Lots of families. Yeah. So it's definitely a family show. And I felt
a bunch of dads who got into video games because they had kids, or they were into video games, had kids, didn't think they'd be able to play video games, but found a way to play video games with their kids.
Yeah. Yeah. So. It's huge. And that's a unique spin. And I really appreciated it. So that's how I started listening. So hopefully, any listeners out there can snag onto that, because Nintendo Dads
be like me and listen even if you're not a dad.
Yeah,
that's right.
We have our resident non-dad. Yeah,
we have a bunch of those too, and not even dads.
You got some moms too.
Aunts, grandmas, grandpas. That's why I said if you are influence in some way to kids, because everybody usually is. Yeah, just it's a good place to come hang out. So.
Really is one of the most positive places to hang out on the internet, which is rare these days. So,
and that's why we love you guys too, because obviously a lot of people come over here to RetroLogic because they're more into the retro stuff and not the modern stuff. Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys do talk modern too.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's all kind of intertwined these days, you know. So exactly. We're also just collectors and love to chat about that, and not everybody is, but there's definitely a lot of cross-pollination, and we love that. Absolutely. So thanks for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, you can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at RetroLogic Games. You can check Sam out on Twitter at what are you on Twitter?
Mole Third.
Third strongest mole was obviously taken. It's a semi-popular.
I think it's just a character limit or something on names. Probably, I don't know.
You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio, or you can find all the RetroLogic things at the website retrologic.games. You get our Discord link, the game store, the merch store, where I just made these sick looking N64 controller galaxy looking stickers that are so cool. Tim's got one there. You can't see it because I'm recording video, but it is very cool. Tim can attest that it is cool.
So happy to get one of those.
There you go. And then
I want one on the hat though.
And then Sam's holding up one of the dinosaur stickers. Oh, a hat. I need to make hats, man. Just stick it to the hat. It'll fit.
Yeah, there we go. Right between Mario and Bowser.
So that's our show. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Apparently I actually did beat Tim. I was confused initially where to put Tim. If I was filling him in as guest, I eventually decided to fill him in as John. So when I cleared that, because I basically knocked myself twice.
Oh, that sucks.
So my total difference was 141.48. So I did beat Tim. I did not beat Dan.
Okay.
Good job.
That's okay. No one will know except us.
Well, Flightsy's got to know. He's making the database.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
You got to have those community members that keep you honest, Tim. You got to have those people.
I know nothing about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody keeps us honest. What are you talking about?
I love it. All right. Anybody have to go to the bathroom?
I'm used to doing a 3-hour podcast. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you guys don't take breaks. You guys just run right through, huh? Because y'all are
He
live.
just keeps a bottle by the microphone.
I'll never. I don't know if you ever heard the story about when my brother guested one time. He didn't know we took a break, so while somebody was talking, he left and peed and came back, and we were all like, "Where'd you go?" He's like, "I had to pee." I'm like, "Dude, we take breaks. We're not live." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yep.
Okay, so let's come back.